Stop taking yourself so seriously in life. It's really important to have fun in life, and sometimes we really get caught along the journey. We get caught in a lot of the seriousness and negativity and gravity of our situation. And I guarantee you that just the more seriously you take your life, really the less fun you're going to be having right now. And some people let really this gravity of the situation really overwhelm them. We really lose perspective and a broader view, a broader objective view of kind of all the joy, wonder, humor, magic of life. And that's really what there is. And anything that you view as being the opposite is all just inside your head, is all in the programming and the wiring in your mind. And your life situation is really just a story that your mind tells you on repeat, basically comparing yourself, what you're doing right now, to some expectation set in your mind of how your life is supposed to be, of what you're supposed to be doing right now versus what actually is. And sometimes it might feel like everything in life is very sad or scary, serious, and it might feel like sometimes that everybody in the world and everything in the world is conspiring against you, but I can assure you that this is absolutely not true. This type of paranoia is, again, all in your mind. It's all just a story that your ego is telling you. It's all in your head. And you really need to hammer this point home. I know that I used to be a very paranoid, fearful person, and I realized that this was getting me absolutely nowhere in life. It wasn't helping me be creative. I was always trying to be competing against other people, worrying about the lack of life. And I used to have such a fearful awareness and such a lack of love, and basically shifting my focus from fear to love has really made the biggest difference in my life. I started to lighten up, loosen up, relax, which completely changed my mindset, has made me a far more positive person, which has allowed me to help and start affecting other people's lives positively. And I really started to laugh at myself and stop clinging to situations where I really embarrass myself, because you're going to be embarrassing yourself no matter what you do, and it's important to laugh at yourself and kind of get over it instead of really berating yourself and making fun of yourself for all these mistakes you made in the past. And yes, it's definitely important to learn from your past mistakes, as mistakes are really the most experience in learning from mistakes is really the most direct teacher. But you understand that you're far more than the mistakes that you have made, and you are a smarter, better, just overall person now from learning from your mistakes than you were in the past. And you couldn't have known everything that you knew in the past. So it's good to just laugh at that and kind of let go and stop clinging to these past situations, because the mistakes in your life are really just there. They should have happened. And you might view it as though that they shouldn't have happened, but every single thing in your life has happened for a purpose. You might not understand the purpose now from the close perspective that you're in right now, but I can guarantee you that in the future, everything right now and everything in your past will become more clear as to what its true purpose was in helping you grow and evolve. Because all these obstacles, mistakes, senses of lack, just challenges that we overcome are really just obstacles and tests for us to bring out our inner power and help us grow. The term lighten up, as I would call it, is extremely accurate. It's really just you stop taking yourself so seriously and you have more fun in life. You literally feel like a lighter person. You feel like you've been carrying 100, 200 pound weight on your back in your entire life, and this has just been lifted, and you're finally free to live as you please, to kind of fly around, just float around. No more worrying about what other people think of you. No really worrying about what you think of you, because you're having more fun in the process. You're having just a more joyous life in general. And you understand that embarrassing yourself is just a part of life. Making silly mistakes is just a part of life, and you know that you're going to learn from these mistakes in whatever you do. But fear of embarrassing yourself shouldn't hold you back from expressing yourself. I know that this once did. This once held me back from really expressing my true self, and now I realize that's just silly. I laugh at myself because I was just a very shy and fearful person, thinking that me embarrassing myself could affect my self-worth in some way is just silly to me now. But back in middle school or even a couple of years ago, that seemed like the biggest deal, because it seemed like what everybody thinks of you is so important. And I just made a video about how to stop caring what other people think of you. Definitely check that out if you haven't. But it's just such a valuable mindset to know that what you're doing is important to you and goes with the values that you have. So, really, how can you learn to stop taking yourself so seriously if you're a person like I used to be who was extremely serious all the time, very hard, negative, just very stiff? And I would say try to take a broader view, a more objective perspective of life. And we often view life as being very tough and serious when we take everything we have and we are for granted. And this lack of gratitude is really the cause of all this, at least in my perspective. And I know that I used to be not very grateful for anything I have. And when I started to shift my attitude to that of gratitude, this mindset really connects you with a joy that's greater than you can imagine. It's almost like magic, honestly. And it might seem like it's a pretty obvious thing, but not a lot of people really consciously are grateful for a lot of the small things we have in our lives. A lot of people take for granted the situations, the small things like having food on your table every day, or having a bed to sleep on, having pillows, living under a roof. These might seem like very small things to you if you honestly are living like a spoiled life, but there are people in third world countries that don't even have running water. So I would really put everything in a little more perspective. And you really start to understand and perceive the true wonder and majesty of the universe, and understand how just ginormous, how gigantic, how ridiculously big the universe is. You are a grain of sand. You're smaller than a grain of sand. The earth is just a grain of sand in the whole system. The sun is just a grain of sand in the whole system. So understand this kind of, I think it's pretty funny how big the universe is. I also made another video on that. But you're basically, when you let your mind make you live so seriously, you're running on autopilot pretty much. And when you become more aware and become more conscious of the situation you're currently in, you become more aware of how your mind is actually basically running your life. You start to discern between what I would call ego and spirit, the two forces that are running your mind and running your life. And you note that the ego is generally unconscious and the spirit is conscious. Learn to make a distinction between ego and spirit. I think this is a huge step in becoming really more aware and conscious of yourself and making better, more loving decisions. But each decision you make is in the end either primarily guided by ego or spirit. And becoming aware of this in yourself really gives you the option to choose consciously what guides your decision-making process. Instead of your mind just running on autopilot and you making a decision and then kind of making fun of yourself or berating yourself about it in the future, you can really avoid all this mental suffering and pain by becoming more aware of your decision-making process in the present, and whether it's primarily guided by ego or spirit. So what really is the difference between ego and spirit? How can you identify them? And I would say that, in short, ego eats and spirit serves. Ego is what receives and spirit is what gives. Ego generally runs on fear. Spirit generally runs on love. Ego takes your life situation and sense of self very seriously because it wants to believe that it's the true thing, that it is really real when it is not. It's just a mind-made concept. And spirit is really you. That's your essence. And this is where you can find love, peace, joy, humor in every moment. Spirit is all about fun and love and play. And ego views the life as really being very solid, heavy. It's the materialist paradigm. It's a funny word, materialist paradigm. But spirit really understands that everything is light. It's all made of light and energy, and everything is transparent. It's see-through. And spirit can see through all. It knows everything, but it is actually humble. While ego thinks it knows it all, it's very arrogant yet ignorant at the same time. It really knows nothing because it thinks it knows all. And yes, again, spirit is humble, ego is arrogant. So think about how these play into factors, play into decision-making processes that you make in your life. And yet, even though they're polar opposites, ego and spirit, their coexistence is very essential to everything that you're experiencing. You need to be able to give and receive the stimulus around you and just the love on a daily basis. And Ego has a very tough time laughing at itself because, again, it wants to believe itself to be real. It wants to take itself very, very, very seriously. But spirit is the only real essence of you. And we all share the same spirit, the same, whatever you want to call it, life force that comes through all of us. Getting a little esoteric now. But to stop taking yourself so seriously and to lighten up is really to learn to be more in touch with the spiritual aspect of you and less in touch, less attached to your ego. And again, this can really be learn to just laugh at yourself. And you understand that life is really more like a playground than you could have ever imagined. You think that it's so serious all the time, but this powerful practice of just learning to laugh at yourself, if you're very serious, can really help you get in touch with the kind of spiritual aspect of yourself. Again, learn to laugh at yourself. If you can't laugh at yourself, it's a sign that you take yourself and you take your life situation far too seriously. Do you think that you're the only person in the world who isn't funny? There's always going to be people laughing at you no matter what you do. So you should learn to laugh at yourself too. Realize that you aren't perfect. Nobody is perfect, so stop making perfection your goal. Make your goal to love the journey you're currently on and to learn more and to become a better person than you were yesterday. Not comparing yourself to anybody else, not worried about how much money you make compared to this year or last year. Make your goal to be a better, more confident person than you are every day and to love yourself more. And that's what I've done for probably about the past 2 years. And I've overcome my mental health issues and really understood that I don't need the validation from other people to love myself on the inside. I need to have validation from within. And that's permanent peace. That's permanent validation. Any validation from the outside is temporary because somebody will take it away when you make a decision that they don't like or you do something that they don't like. But when you make a mistake or realize you're wrong about something, instead of getting very defensive and trying to pretend that you didn't make the mistake, simply relax into the mistake, learn the lesson from it that you need to learn to get better because all mistakes make us better when we learn from them, and laugh at yourself and move on to the next moment. Detach from the past. Stay present in the moment. And don't go crazy with this though. Find a fine balance. Find a fine line between taking yourself seriously and lighten up. You don't want to be taking absolutely nothing seriously, but at the same time, you don't want to be taking everything completely seriously. Don't go through life thinking that nothing matters, but also don't go through life thinking that every little thing matters and micromanaging yourself and others in every little moment. Find a fine balance on the spectrum somewhere in the middle, because the middle path is always where you'll want to be in really respect to any attributes you want to cultivate in life. And this also comes with practicing moderation. And I would say that your life is really more like a comedy show than you can ever imagine. And maybe it's not funny from your perspective at the moment, but again, I would take a broader view and you should try to find some perspective because I think a lot of people would think that your life is funny right now no matter what you're doing. And I think my life is funny. I think if people were watching this from a different planet or a different dimension or whatever else is going up on there in here, I think they would think it's funny as well. I'm just laughing just thinking about that right now, but there's been so many times in the past that I've just been caught up in the moment and taken myself way too seriously, and it caused a lot of just suffering inside of me, clinging to a situation, not being able to let go. And I just look back on this situation and just laugh for how dumb I was acting in the moment, for how seriously I was taking myself, my inability to just accept the fact that I made a mistake and learn from it. And just being able to laugh at yourself is healthy. Not being able to laugh at yourself is unhealthy. It's a sign that you take yourself far too seriously. It means you are too stiff and rigid. Lighten up, be a little loose, be a little more transparent, and have a little more fun. So, why is it that you can laugh at other people but you aren't able to laugh at yourself? And as I said before, people are going to laugh at you no matter what you do. So you should probably learn to laugh at yourself too, or you're going to be missing out on the fun. That's really all it is. People generally have fun when they laugh. I think we can all agree on that. And if you can't laugh at yourself, you're probably holding a bunch of negative emotions inside of you that are just waiting to be released. They're waiting to be shown love and compassion. And you can show them love and compassion by laughing. Laughing is a very loving emotion or action. and lighten up, loosen up, relax. Just laugh at yourself at least once in a while if you've never done it before. I think you will feel a whole lot better. And as I said before, I used to take myself way too seriously. I thought that everything I did was the most important thing ever, and I was way too much of a perfectionist, and I thought that everything mattered way too much, and I was the center of the universe, and all that is complete crap. It's all just a story going on in my mind that I really learned to discern from being taught in my ego as I've been meditating a lot. So I've really understood this self-speak and what the spirit is telling you versus what the ego is telling you, and the ego is pretty much always wrong. And I'm not even saying about laughing at dark things, just laugh at some of the stupid mistakes that you make, because we all make stupid mistakes. Learn from them. The most valuable lessons that you learn in life are going to come from making mistakes and realizing where you messed up, and then laugh at them. Learn from them, then laugh at them. And you might not think that's funny. I completely respect your opinion because everybody has a sense of humor, but I think that's funny. That's going to be it for today's episode. Remember, be kind to yourself. You know who you are. My name is Ari. Thank you for watching. Please give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more videos that I'm going to be making. Thank you. Have a great day. Peace.